It's a great Saturday morning and my pleasure to welcome you to your weekend dose of news analysis and current affairs program, The Platform. My name is Femi Akonde and I am standing in for the regular host of this show, Sam Omasheye. For the past few weeks, the Senate has made various headlines for different reasons, from a face-off with the presidency, a seemingly face-off with the presidency, and recently Ali Ndume's suspension for daring to bring forward allegations against fellow lawmakers. This shall be the crux of our conversation on the show today, and I'm being joined by public affairs analyst Adeniyi Kunu.
I say good morning to Nigerians. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Thank you. Welcome. Right. Yeah. And a social commentator, Peter F. Bota. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigeria.
Welcome back. Senate President Bukola Saraki and distinguished Senator Dino Melaye have been brought to disrepute. Consequently, the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petition suspended another of their colleague, Ali Ndume, for daring to mention allegations against Saraki and Melaye on the floor of the hallowed chamber. These same senators had twice rejected Ibrahim Magu as chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. They also had a face-off with the stubborn Customs Controller General Hamid Ali, and again they deferred the nomination of 27 resident electoral commissioners by President Muhammadu Buhari in protest over the continued stay of Magu as acting chairman of the EFCC. The Senate has also indicted the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Babachir Lawal, for his alleged role in the grass-cutting 200 million naira contract to clear invasive plant species in Yobe State. The Chairman, Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, Professor Ite Sage, has also angered the senators for describing the lawmakers' actions as childish and irresponsible. Now it is very clear there's a battle between the Senate and the presidency. But how far will the peace moves by the presidency go to calm the angry senators? Or maybe I should start with you, Kunu. Why are the senators angry?
Well, let's try to understand the position of the Senate bit by bit on the matter, starting from Hamid Ali. They've been having problems with him. And it is a fact that when you take up such responsibilities as we have, it is only sensible that you actually put on something that is associated with that organization. We're talking about the Customs Service of Nigeria. Records has actually revealed that we've had people who retired. There was a Major General who has been at the helm of the, I think the Federal Road Safety Corps, and this particular man, regarding the fact that he didn't consider, I meant to say, the fact that he retired as a Major General. Hamid Ali retired as a Colonel, for goodness sake. That is 6th to the highest position in the Nigerian Army. One would have expected him to just, for the sake of just let's do things for Nigerians, just put it on and come. And if you decide not to, they didn't tell us that they should put it on every day if it goes maybe to the water areas or something. Just put this particular thing on. Come talk to us about the things we want you to talk about. Then afterwards, you go ahead. I think really that at times we have to find common grounds, especially in instances of this nature. Hamid Ali, as you even said in your introduction, is a very stubborn man. And even records show that he has the antecedent of being very stubborn. As the administrator of Kaduna State, they've actually jailed, he let go of thousands of civil servants, he jailed some persons. He has a record for being very steely, as it were. But let's say that the National Assembly itself has a responsibility, apart from lawmaking, oversight functions are there, which is the reason why they told Hamid Ali to come and don your uniform, and you're not going to be the first person. Now, under the Obasanjo administration and the Babangida administration, as I said at the beginning of this conversation, that people retired in different areas of expertise. But once you take up such task, as it reflects an agency of government, it is only sensible that you do something of the sort and just reflect the organization that you represent.
Okay, now let's look at the frosty relationship now between the Senate and the presidency.
Yeah.
You know, this 8th Senate is now becoming like an albatross on the executive and the presidency that they have to carry. And some people believe it's because the president decided to just stand aloof when they had this crisis about who should lead the Senate as the Senate president. He said he can work with anybody, and now it appears as if the Senate president or the Senate president is leading the Senate against the presidency.
I think it is about the strength of the institutions, and that is one thing. Before the Obamacare came in, the Obamacare faced plenty of problems. I also remember that even before the Obamacare, the American economy was almost in jeopardy, that they needed to step up certain things that related to finance. The House eventually agreed because the American people appears to be more important to them than all of the things, the brickbats that were happening. Now, if we come to the instance of Nigeria, people will always allude to the Senate presidency as an issue that is, you know, that appears to be affecting the executive and the legislature. But let me differ from that a little bit. The various arms of government have responsibilities to undertake. And with the responsibility they have, they also have rule books that guide the things they should do. So if the institutions are, as it should be, independent and they are allowed to operate as they should, you see, at times you just don't look at things because the rule book says it alone. At times you also consider the people. Even if the rule book doesn't say, okay, this is the way this should go here. For instance, the case where somebody was to become the governor and died in Kogi State. Yeah. In instances such as that, there are certain moves we make to salvage the situation. Now, we're talking about the Senate in a position where they feel you put somebody up for a particular nominated position, they've brought facts surrounding that person that you cannot have this person in office because certain things have been put up as allegations. Now, you went on break. We're very happy that the president came back. And this same person still has his name put up for nomination, which of course they don't find good. And let us also say this. Do not forget that there was even another issue with the justice man for the country on Ogen, Justice Walter on Ogen. There was a problem. And his confirmation did not come until the president left the country. So that simply means there are certain things from the executive arm that they really need to re-examine so that the Senate can begin to work, you know, favorably for the Nigerian cause rather than them. I think strongly that these allegations have come the first time, the second time, for the Nigerian people. Somebody may not be in acting capacity forever. Do not forget there's also another accusation that a particular person who has retired got an extension, having completed perhaps the 35 years in, you know, as a civil servant. I think she's from, I'm trying to remember her name here. She also has the same issue where they said, you know, the woman that is at the helm told us that our extended stay was approved by the president, and until people raised an issue, it's something that the world may never have known. Okay,
let me quickly bring Peter in. Let me let you weigh in on this now. The relationship between the Senate and the presidency. Is this democracy at work when you look at the principles of checks and balances? Or would you say that some kind of self-interest is at play here? When you look at the issue with the custom boss, we now got to know that, of course, the Senate president has been cleared, but we later heard that it goes beyond just wearing a uniform. There are other undertones and so many issues that has happened. We're beginning to hear that there are some other motives behind the Senate's actions. So what is your own take on all this?
My take is very simple. I think it's politics, which is, of course, why Abuja is there.
Welcome back. It's still The Platform, and I still have with me Adeni Ikunu and Peter F. Bota. Well, another issue that has come out of the Red Chamber, that is the Senate now, is the suspension of Ali Ndume. This has in a way calls to question the leadership style of the Senate. Of course, we know he was suspended based on the recommendations of the Committee on Rules, Privileges and Public petition just for telling the Senate to look into the allegations against the Senate president over the purchase of an SUV, and also the certificate falsification allegation against Senator Dino Melaye. Is this too harsh?
Of course it's too harsh. And again, we talked about the cabal in the presidency. This is now the cabal in the Senate at work. These are Saraki boys. As a matter of fact, if you remember when the power tussle was going on, Ndume was staunchly behind Saraki and Melaye. That's why it became...
Okay, hold your thoughts a little, please. I have Honorable Umar Sadiq from Kano State. Good morning, Honorable.
Yes, good morning, everybody there.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yes, I thank you very much for dwelling, to keep Nigeria one and Nigeria moving. BBC has been doing a great job. So I commend, while I congratulate Bola Tinubu for holding, a successful colloquium, which all of these things, tantamount to, if the whole country can borrow from the trend in Lagos, Nigeria will be absolutely a better place for everybody, and Nigeria will be great very soon. So like the two gentlemen have said, democracy is a particularly presidential system of government, provides for lobby. That lobby means teaming up the party. APC is supposed to be stronger and stronger. The president is supposed to be working hand in hand with the APC as a party, because APC is supposed to be above everybody, including him, Mr. President. And so therefore, the president is supposed to call Bola Tinubu to call all the board of trustees of the party, the leadership of the Senate, the leadership of the House of Representatives, and the leadership of the party. He is supposed to be working hand in hand with them. It is then that things will go smoothly in Nigeria. I give you an example. While we were in the National Assembly in 1979 to 83, we from TRB in Kano State, we team up together with the UP.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable. Well, you were talking about the crisis now in the Senate now between the leadership of the Senate and Ali Ndume, a former Senate leader.
Yeah. And to continue my line of thought, I think he fell out with the leadership based on Magu, who is from his own senatorial district. And one will expect that he will come out and support Magu. And series of events has happened. Magu issue, and I think there was another issue
Babachi
again.
Lawal, I think he stood up and spoke in favor of Babachi Lawal.
And you can see the musical chairs being played by Senate President Saraki. The man that was supposed to be the Senate President is now the leader of the House. And you can see, the leader of the Senate now. You can see he's being co-opted into the game. And I really feel pity for Ali Ndume, because I think he speaks his mind. I've watched him in a different fora, and he's a man that says what he feels. All he have said was, look, there is news going on about our distinguished senators. Can this please be looked into? And now he's a victim of the whole process. And I wish and I hope that they're able to resolve it politically, because again, there's still one family. It's still APC fighting APC. Do you know what is very interesting in the Nigerian politics today? APC is the ruling party and APC is the opposition party.
Wow.
I mean, I sent it on my Facebook and said, where's PDP? Yeah, nowhere to be found.
They're still trying to get their acts
Absolutely.
together.
So APC is opposing APC. So to what extent?
Ali Ndume's suspension, is this nepotism, or you'd say, how would I put it, a biased verdict coming from the Committee of Rules, Privileges and Public Petitions?
Well, in the first place, let's understand that any issue that needs finding, a committee, as mentioned, gets set up to actually look into that matter carefully and critically and make their submissions, oftentimes over a 2-week period. Now, that was the thing that they first of all employed when there are issues with the man who was the in charge of the, who chaired the appropriation committee at the House of Representatives, talking about Jibrin. Jibrin. Now, he said certain things were put into the budget and that they should find out that billions of naira have been actually, pushed in unknowingly. And what happens? They said he wanted to bring the House of Rep to disrepute, and I saw how they closed his office with extra plank and nail. Now, talking about Ali Ndume, please let's understand that Ali Ndume may not appear to be the saint that the world sees him to be, because during the Jonathan administration, especially as it concerns the security of this country, he was indicted at some point. He was actually, he almost faced trial seriously at some point up until he came back at this moment.
I'll let you continue with your line of thought, but we have a call from Kano State again. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Ogaga, good morning.
Morning. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Go ahead.
I have to appreciate you people for this platform this morning. You have been watching your program step by step. Nigerian political system today is like it's being ruled by Kaba before, but since 1950s that we know about it. And we have to. The thing we're having here is that Nigerians are so nonchalant that we are not contending this Kaba. If we leave them continuously like this, we will be like until this system is collapsed. We need to contend this for especially like what one of your listeners said. I said there is no a ruling party facing itself, contending itself. There's no PDP anymore. We are having APC, and APC is having PDP under it in the same house. So Ali Ndume just complained. He said, "See what is happening in the house, and why don't you just work on it?" Now they just came up and suspended the Now they are taking this man from his constituency. That constituency must not be represented.
Absolutely.
Look at what is happening. It's so painful that we Nigerians are so silent. We kept silent. We just kept silent, and nobody is contending anybody. They will continue dealing with Nigerians like this.
All right, thank you very much. Now, what should we be more worried about? Is it bringing the Senate as an institution to disrepute, or bringing certain individuals in the Senate to disrepute?
Well, I don't think it's about bringing individuals to disrepute.
Well, that is the reason I'm pushed forward, and that is why Senator Ali Ndume was suspended.
Well, the point remains that the Senate should be seen as above board, because these people make laws that control the lives and activities of the people. So if you are more or less the administrator of people's lives by virtue of the law you enact, I think your hands should be clean enough to do that. Absolutely. Because if you must come to equity, you have to come to equity with clean hands. But you see, it has to happen so that democracy itself will grow. Now, if you look at it, he raised the issues. And at the point he raised the issues, there were findings that nullified the allegations that he raised. You would have expected an outsider to raise the issue and petition the necessary body that Dino Melaye did not graduate from Ahmadu Bello University, and that those cards were actually cards brought in by the Senate President. But Ali Ndume told the world he found these publications in the papers, and when he found this publication, he felt the need to bring it out so that the Senate will be seen as above board.
We have Titus calling from Lagos. Good morning, Titus. Welcome.
Good morning, sir.
Hello, welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Good morning to you. Please, I want to talk about Saraki.
Go ahead.
I want to know whether Saraki is stronger than Nigeria. Secondly, I want to know if a 200 count charge is leveled against somebody here in Nigeria, and none of these 200 count charge can hold him and put him in prison. I can tell you vividly that Saraki is anti-Nigeria. Saraki is supposed to be in jail right now. I don't know where on earth where Senate President will come from majority.
Well, that's your opinion, and I think he's being tried, and the law will take its course. All right, thank you. Well, go ahead.
Well, so I was saying that the point remains that Ali Ndume brought those things forward because he felt there's need to clear the urgent stables. And when he did that, they felt, okay, you've brought this thing up. Is it that your intentions remain one with us, or your intention is different from ours? And don't forget, they did not just come to tell us that, okay, this man will be dealt with. They first of all set up a committee that actually looked at all those things they brought forth as being unfounded, because they eventually told us that Dino Melaye graduated and all of. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, please. I just wanted to interject a little bit,
go ahead.
Not to cut your line of thought. You saw that charade. It was on national television, and as a matter of fact, these are people put in position by Saraki. So what do you expect? But we saw it clearly. Dino Melaye came there, was speaking authoritatively. Saraki is, I think, is a sophisticated politician. He understands, I mean, he has been a governor, he has been there, he was trained abroad, he's a medical doctor. So he understands the nitty-gritty of politics. But you saw Dino Melaye coming out as an anti-corruption fighter. We knew that the committee was going to come up with a clean bill of health.
So was Ali Ndume wrong now for asking the Senate to please set up a committee and, in his words, let's clear our colleagues? Well, was he wrong in doing that?
The point is, Ali Ndume is not wrong.
Absolutely.
But let us also examine.
He appeared to have had good intentions.
Absolutely.
Well, that is the much we could see. That is why at times I do not want us to say that something connotes something. At times I want us to look at it directly.
Okay.
It came forward and said, these are issues. A very good way to at least make the world see the Senate has been clean. But when he did that, the interpretation was wrong. Because don't forget, this is where we'll begin to look at things from the connotative point of view, as we've been saying all along, that for Ali Ndume to have raised these issues, perhaps he's still not very happy that they took him off that position, and he felt, okay, for those who did this, I'm also going to make them bite the dust. Even if they don't die, they'll feel certain pains here. And that's why he actually referred them to the publication made that they should clear the air on those issues.
People clamor for change. We're looking at the Lagos model to be transferred nationally. If you know, HCN has been in power in Lagos. Sure. You have a healthy relationship between the House of Assembly and the executive. They go about their business, they pass laws for the good governance of Lagos, and Lagos has been better for it. So when APC came on board, people were thinking that will take place in the national capital. That's Abuja. Yeah. Unfortunately, the forces at play is very, very analytical to the progress of this country. Because, of course, the Saraki group is the new PDP. And you have the ACN, the CPC is presently the presidency. And with all this amalgamation of different interests and all that, here where we are. If, for example, Saraki, should I call it a civilian coup, to go against the party structure and party people that would have, be responsible for the leadership of the Senate, would not have been, of course, there will still be some little bit of this and that. But
so you would say that decision is what is haunting the presidency
bottom line till tomorrow.
Wow.
And that will be till 2019.
Wow.
Because, look, you have the executive, you have the legislature, and you have the judiciary. These are separation of powers, and it is enshrined in our constitution. But of course, you know, party supremacy is very important in this neck of the wood. I mean, where we are as Nigerians or Africans. If somebody can, let's go back a little bit to UPN era. Awolowo and my hero, the governor of former Benue State, Ambrose Ali, came through that hierarchy of order. That, okay, you are the chosen one, you're going to be the governor, get there. And then there is a philosophy, an ideology behind the party. But what do we have now? What actually can we say is the ideology of APC? Nothing. What is the difference between APC and PDP? Nothing. So it's just self-interest, 2019, I want to be the next president. Why shouldn't I be the next president? That is the problem. Every other thing, these are just like Shakespeare's, everybody playing their part on the stage. So I believe until there is party supremacy, there is like the committee set up by the presidency now to harness the ideas of, because again, the Senate and to a little extent the House of Representatives are complaining that they are being shut out of the system of governance in Nigeria, that they can't see the president when they want to see him, and the presidency, the people, the cabal, they call them, are making things difficult for them. So this is a way of them getting back. Because the Comptroller General of Customs, the Alain Dume and all that stuff, yeah, I think they are just fried. The bottom line is Saraki, Buhari, and the Secretary of State.
Babachi,
yeah.
Okay, now this committee that has been set up by the presidency, led by the vice president, to make peace, to mend fences with the Senate, isn't this coming rather too late? Because we believe that, or some people believe that, at the point when Magu was first rejected by the Senate, the presidency was supposed to have intervened at this point, reach out to the senators, dialogue with them, lobby the senators. You know, it appears the situation now, the relationship between the presidency and the Senate is quite different from what it used to be. Before now, we see intense lobbying when some kind of executive bill is coming to the National Assembly, or when even the ministers or some kind of political appointments are before the Senate for appointment. For confirmation. We see this kind of lobbying, but it appears things have changed.
Permit me quickly go to the United States of America and tell you that they have a history of having in Washington those that have served in the military. The erstwhile Secretary of State to the President, John Kerry, was in the military. The predecessor of the person that, yes, they were in the military. Talk about George Bush himself was in the military. But the point remains that immediately they got into a democratic setting and the system of governance has changed. They were taken through the rule books to understand that you have to put aside, especially as regards lobbying, for the American people if you must get anything done. I think the president of the country has very good intentions, but he must allow himself to be taken through the nitty-gritty of the democratic process.
He must be debriefed.
He has to be debriefed and rebriefed such that he will understand the demands of his office as a democratically elected president, which is very key for the Nigerian people. This is April. The budget that should have helped the Nigerian people has not been touched. There has been deliberation time and again so that the Nigerian people can benefit, but everything is hanging. Do not forget, we spent some time trying to get the pardon issue out of our faces. Soon after we had the pardon issue out of our faces, it is the appointment of people. Now, do not forget that 2 offices, ministerial offices, have still not been occupied. We have electoral commissioners. There's 27 still on suspension. Now, these people are supposed to take up certain responsibilities to help the smooth running of their various agencies towards certain elections. Do not forget, in Anambra, there's going to be an election in November. Now, the same thing for some states of the Federation before 2019, where you have the major elections. The dates, of course, have been announced. So I think strongly that it is high time that the presidency understood that no matter the accusatory fingers being pointed at the legislature, they must find a way to resolve their crisis so that we don't throw the babies away with the bathwater. That is one. Secondly, each time there are issues, I tell you, the strength of the institutions matter a great deal, because it is the strength of the institutions that allow the institution to understand that you cannot say because you are an appointee of the president, and if there are certain things in the name of discolorations, use my word now, that have allowed the legislatures to summon you according to what the Constitution permits them to do, then you will feel that you won't appear because you are an appointee of the president. These are issues that should not be. Then at the same time, as the Senate, for instance, you mentioned in your introduction that Professor Issa Sege said something. Section 39, subsection 1-2, talks about freedom of expression and the freedom of the press as enshrined in the ground norm of this country. Right. You'd expect that as legislatures, they should have read that portion of the Constitution to understand that Issa Sege, forget the fact that he has a responsibility as appointed by the president. Yeah. He is Nigerian first before his position, and the Constitution guarantees his freedom of expression. Absolutely. He has not called them names that are untoward. He only said something that he perceived seems to be happening. So
childish and irresponsible.
Well, the point remains that the point is you could say that somebody is acting irresponsibly. It depends on, as a matter of fact, the word irresponsible could be polysemous in terms of the meaning it actually gives. Yeah. So the truth remains that all those things are completely inconsequential as to someone that man, because he understands the law, and even before, Professor Issa Sege is not somebody who talks anyhow. No. He has a history of not talking anyhow, despite having enough guarantee from the Constitution to say certain things. So for the first time, he said something, being childish and irresponsible. Being irresponsible could even mean you have a job to do and you don't do it.
Absolutely.
So I really believe that if the institutions are strong enough and people are not taking advantage of their offices unduly, the Nigerian people will be the first before any other thing, because a particular budget that is not in effect at this period of the year, I wonder when it will be allowed to roll such that people will benefit while even this government is in office.
Okay, now there are, we've seen in media reports about some demands that the Senate has given before they can reach a truce with the presidency, though these demands are credited to an unknown senator, anonymous senator. Yeah. But again, one of these demands is for the president to dissolve the cabal within the presidency. And this cabal has caused so much friction between the presidency and the Senate, because looking at Magu's confirmation now, the president sends the name of Ibrahim Magu, but an agency under the presidency, the DSS, sends a report to counter Mr. President twice. So what exactly is going on? And has the president lost control that now a cabal is creating so much problems for Nigerians?
I think the wife of the president said it clearly, that the president, maybe outside 2 or 3 persons in the presidency, does not really know those who he's working with. Wow. So if the wife of the president can say that, we should take it as an authority. And that is the problem. Couple again, and I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Our president is an elderly man. And you know what goes with, we pray we get that old too. I mean, on a personal note, I wish him well. And he's not really in the best of
physical shape.
To really take control of his presidency. He came on board with that statement, I belong to no one, I belong to everybody. Beautiful. But now we can see clearly that even within his own presidency,
it belongs to a few people.
I mean, he might not, they've taken over. That's just the bottom line. Remember when he went to the United Kingdom on his medical vacation, we could see the difference in governance in terms of when the vice president stepped in as acting president. Things were moving. Forex came down. The acting vice president, I mean the acting president then went to the Niger Delta and persuaded them to realize that, yeah, we're for you, we'll do things for you, modular refinery and things like that. Which, if our president was in the best of health, could be able to go around and his personality will, assuage people's feelings. And this is where the issues are. We really don't know who is in charge in the presidency. Is the vice president in control? Is the chief of staff? Is the DSS? Or so many agencies there that they are not working.
There's a friction again between the DSS and the NSA.
Absolutely. And Magu seems to be a pawn in this chess game. And it's very unfortunate. And one of the demands through unknown source is that the presidency should drop the criminal charges against the Senate president.
Yeah, I was coming to that, the trial of President Bukola Saraki should be discontinued. Could this also be why the Senate has decided to hold the presidency by its balls?
In the first place, if what they brought before the court that Saraki has been appearing, if these things were false, it would have actually been thrown out long ago. But let us understand that when you don't do things that you should have done, or when you do things you should not have done, and you hold public offices, it comes back, and definitely this thing makes you get asked certain questions. You have certain property. Do you own this property? As a Senate president, you cannot hold dual citizenship.
Absolutely.
These things are clearly stated in the rule books. And immediately you flout these things. And that's why at times it's been said by a legal practitioner one time that at times the lawyers defending certain persons appears to be exploring some things in the law to take advantage unduly.
Technicalities.
You see, this thing keeps dragging. You're telling me, don't forget there was a time where they said the person sitting over this case should dismiss himself because it can't be tried.
Yeah.
There was another time where they said, okay, the particular court cannot sit over this matter. That was also thrown out.
Yes.
So the truth remains that if certain things were done by the Senate president that he should not have done, forget about the fact that he became the president of the Senate. The things they were, the things that they actually, that they alleged he has done, those particular things, are they true or not? That's the question you have to ask.
Yeah.
So at times we don't have to associate some things with it. This question they are asking you about declaring your assets, how true are these things? Do you own this property? Do you own certain amounts of money? Are these things true? Yes or no? But you find out that people always look at certain lacuna in the law to take undue advantage and make people suffer. So how could you tell us that you want them to drop the case against you? Is it the fact that those things are untrue? Or you feel that, how could you try me because I'm the Senate president? Every living being within the geographical space of this country called Nigeria is subjected to the dictates of the law because that document is signed for it to be effective.
Absolutely.
So it is binding on everybody, you and I, as well as every other person, regardless of the position you hold. So telling us that certain things that have been put forth against him should be dropped makes me feel very suspicious that these people are trying to make rubbish of the law just because they want the advantage, which is very, very wrong here. Now, don't also forget, you want to say something at the moment?
I think at this point, you can join the conversation, calling the number showing on your screen. And you can also tweet at us using that.
The point is, Ali Ndume is not wrong.
Absolutely.
But let us also examine...
He appeared to have had good intentions.
Absolutely.
Well, that is the much we could see. That is why at times I do not want us to say that something connotes something. At times I want us to look at it directly.
Okay.
It came forward and said, these are issues. A very good way to at least make the world see the Senate has been clean. But when he did that, the interpretation was wrong. Because don't forget, this is where we'll begin to look at things from the connotative point of view, as we've been saying all along, that for Ali Ndume to have raised these issues, perhaps he's still not very happy that they took him off the position, and he felt, okay, for those who did this, I'm also going to make them bite the dust. Even if they don't die, they'll feel certain pains here. And that's why he actually referred them to the publication made that they should clear the air on those issues. And I think very strongly that he perhaps have thought that the case of Dino Melaye, because let's not forget, the source of that story is one of the most reliable sources for such news stories that we have in this country. So for them to have brought such news stories out, perhaps Ndume felt, even if I don't get the Senate president, this guy that's been talking anyhow, I let him understand that I've been in this Senate before him, and I'll teach him to respect me. But unfortunately, it did not go as planned, because for the vice chancellor of a university to come and tell you that somebody graduated, you cannot question it. Even if you were Dino Melaye's schoolmates then, your case is null and void where the vice chancellor, the authority, speaks. So we're simply talking about a situation where, and ultimately, it is beginning to strengthen the democratic process that if a house, because you are saying APC is against APC, I think it is good, but I also believe that it will help us understand better that if they want to continue to shortchange us, some things will always come up that are known to them eventually will favor the Nigerian people. Now, when Ndume goes and returns from his hiatus, which is 6 months, we hope that he will understand how to be strategic in certain things that are allegations or certain things that have not been founded. And even as we speak, the Senate President could have been carrying all along a very calm mien. But I tell you, he knows that he's dealing with people that are perhaps superior to him or understands the political game much more than himself. And the case has not ended. No. So let us see the things that unfold.
Well, we have a call from Kwara State, the home of the Senate President. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Welcome to the platform.
Thank you very much. Please, I want to contribute to the issue.
Go ahead. You have the floor.
All right. All right, please. I want to advise that we should think about the future of our children, the future generation. And if we keep quiet now, sincerely speaking, our children will suffer it. Because those people right now at the Senate, and those people right now at the executive, sincerely speaking, they are just messing up.
Absolutely.
And we are playing with our future and the future of the generation. So I want we Nigerians to rise up and fight for the rights of our future children. It's very few people, and they are very people, and they are disturbing the whole Nigeria. Why are we playing? Why are we keeping quiet? Let's rise up because of the future of the children. Let's forget about whether American constitution or no constitution. We had a national conference which would have shaped Nigeria. But we refuse. So please, let us do something. If we are going to rise.
All right, thank you very much. Well, another issue that appears to have angered the senators is the redundancy of the All Progressives Congress, the APC. It appears the president or the presidency does not carry the party along. The presidency tries to act independently without even letting the party know what they intend to do, without even, in a way, carrying out or trying to work out the manifesto of the party during the campaign. Right now, the presidency is detached from the party, and the senators are not happy about this.
I mean, you know, we've said it here on the platform, that the presidency, the cabal or the people that manages the presidency, were not part of the APC that campaigned, that propagated the change agenda and all that stuff. This guy just came in after our dear president was sworn in. I mean, who knows about the Secretary of State? Who knows about the Chief of Staff? Who knows about those people that today manages Aso Rock? We don't know about them. They are strangers to the party. And if we go historically, APC is an amalgamation of different political entities. You have the CPC, CPC, ANPP, ACN, and PDP, new PDP. So a lot of interest to be catered for.
Yeah, and the Senate also wants the presidency to create a direct line of interaction, communication between the Senate President Bukola Saraki and President Muhammadu Buhari. But well, gentlemen, we're coasting home now, and I would like your last take on this issue, the relationship between the Senate and the presidency.
Well, the truth is, let us look at the party that merged with the National Party. Because if you look at it, even if all the parties are under one name, the All Progressive Congress, let us say this is an amalgamation, as you rightly said. And the Lagos statute or the Lagos identity has shown that there is something unique in the ideals of the APC, if only they could replicate those ideals at the national level. Right. So you see, it also tells you that power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. The president himself may have very good intentions, but let's understand that there is no man on the face of the earth that cannot be influenced. If your wife doesn't influence you, your best friend will influence you, or your political jobbers will manipulate you to take certain decisions. These things happen. It is just for the president to understand that let me take the pulse of the Nigerian people. In the first place, a house divided against itself cannot stand. We cannot talk about the APC and not talk about Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Absolutely.
See, let us be frank.
Let's be honest with each other.
We cannot talk about the APC or the ideas that brought a man who failed 3 times to Aso Rock and not talk about Bola Tinubu. But perhaps he's a very wise man. he has
detach
sat
himself
back because he doesn't want to be associated with perhaps something that is not functioning, because essentially people still see him as the man that is responsible for this marriage that has resulted in this particular helm. So I believe strongly that it's for the president to understand that the Nigerian people appear not to be happy, particularly my party. Can I reshuffle and get things to place so that this particular support, this goodwill that I enjoy, 2019 is just at the snap of the fingers.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, you said there's no man that cannot be influenced. Well, it appears the president has been influenced badly. I hope he realizes this. Now, your last take on the matter.
I will continue from where he stopped. I think APC needs to get their act together. They need to go back in history and see how political ideology helps. Whether it's Marxism, communism, capitalism, you just need to, because as of today, what does APC stand for? Apart from that change agenda, and the president has come out to say most of those changes, he never personally said them.
I think it's now progress.
So, so let's go back to the drawing board. Let's get the initial people that started this jolly together, Tinubu and other co-travelers. Let them get there together. Re-strategize. It's never too late. But I think that's it. Get it together and.
All right, it's never too late. Let's go on a quick break, and when we return, I'll read to you an excerpt from Sam Omasheye's column published in the Nation newspaper on Monday, titled "Ali versus Uniform." Stay with us. If you have stood close to Hamid Ali, you will see two things that collide: the air of an aristocrat and the mien of an army officer in between. You observe the impulses of an entitled man. So if you are the Senate, you cannot expect the man to simply cave in when you ask him to wear a uniform. Ali will not say it, but he believes he is done with the uniform. He was done when he retired as a soldier. To him, when you say old soldiers never die, they only fade away, it also includes the uniform. His army uniform in all his imperial glory and starch is fading away, and that is just fine with him. For him to put on the uniform of the customs officer, he sees as degrading. You cannot be a soldier where you rose to an elite rank and became military governor and stoop to an inferior garb. The man is known to be doing well on his job. He's making money. He's a sort of corruption czar in the cocoon known as the customs. The top brass of that agency must be nervous to have him around. The agency is by common consent the most corrupt in the country. Those who work there live a peacock life, the sort their legitimate incomes can never even dream of. It seems the real peacocks of this democracy somehow fell into the shadows of the customs bear. They wanted a bear hug. Instead, the beast pounced on them. The animal has them in their claws. I am referring to the Senate and the scandal of Senate President Bukola Saraki, Eleyimi Saraki, the extant Oloye of the upper chamber of Nigeria's legislature. Every member of the top class wants a big car into the country one time or another. We have learned that Oloye has fallen into the man's net with a big armored vehicle. Oloye is denying ownership of a Range Rover impounded by the Nigerian Customs. Saraki's spokesperson says it is a matter of the supplier, but they have not been able to clarify why his name was not inserted in it. Well, we now know that the Senate intervened not because of the outcry over NCA's impunity on the streets by impounding vehicles with antiquated papers, but because it touched their bones. What a selfless Senate and its leadership. Oloye had to fight back, and he wanted to put the man back in line by wearing uniform. Ali believes he is supporting those who wear uniforms. Saraki and co. want to force him to don one. The uniform, for the point of view of Oloye, is not the stuffy khaki, it is obedience. Ali gets it, and that is why he's kicking. Uniforms are about obedience. Individuality is about sacrifice. Ali would not sacrifice his individuality. Though to an institution, the reason is that he has come as a messiah. Messiahs in history have tended to be humble, but they have also been individual without alienating their foes. Jesus whipped the money changers in the temple. What do you expect when a combo of soldier and patrician takes over a can of worms like the NCS? Perhaps Ali may have the moral bona fides for the job. He does not seem to have the humility, just like his boss, Buhari. The fight against corruption calls for men of integrity, but history tells us that winners triumph with other weapons as well, including cunning and strategic flexibility. Sentiment sometimes supersedes principle when appropriately harnessed. Ali would not wear the uniform, and that is wrong, not in law, but in optics. As Apostle Paul noted, all things may be lawful, but they may not be expedient. If he can stoop to fight the corruption war, he should respect the men by donning their clothing. He becomes their leader in and out of uniform. It does not make him less of a soldier or patrician. It makes him a better man. Thank you for being a part of the show today, gentlemen. I must thank you very much for finding time to come on the show today and give your objective analysis on the feud between the Senate and the presidency. Well, until next time, keep watching TVC News Nigeria. I am Femi Akonde.